Classical music and contemporary art, they seem an unlikely pair, but in Bartlesville, the two go hand in hand. OK Mozart International Music Festival gets underway in Bartlesville this week. As OETA's Karen Wicker tells us, the festival is more than just music. It also showcases the talents of one of the world's most famous architects.
You can't put a price tag on the Price Tower. This 19-story unique and futuristic design attracts tourists from all around the world. The architect was way ahead of his time. In 1929, Frank Lloyd Wright designed the Price Tower as an apartment complex in New York City. However, that skyscraper was never built. But 25 years later, the same design was scaled down 4 times and built right here in the heart of Bartlesville. Wright died a few short years after the tower was built. The landmark building is now vacant, except for the new Bartlesville Museum housed on the first floor. This is the original scale model of the Price Tower, which was brought here in bits and pieces from Wright's home in Wisconsin. It took 6 weeks to restore the model for the museum's first exhibit. Original photographs from the construction of the tower and original furnishings are also on display.
Some people had some in storage that they'd kept, some of the furniture. Phillips had some actually in crates that they had loaned the Smithsonian, the chairs, the actual metal chairs.
The name of the exhibit is just as unusual as most of Wright's designs.
The tree that escaped the crowded forest, and Frank Lloyd Wright himself nicknamed the Price Tower that.
Wright's exhibit is the first of 4 art shows scheduled to appear at the new museum, which will be opened every day during the OK Mozart Music Festival.
The many concerts of our chamber series will take place in the museum, and so here will be very contemporary, just little 10-minute concerts of contemporary music in one of the contemporary beauties.
The exhibit will also be opened Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays throughout June. Admission is free. Reporting from Bartlesville, Karen Wicker, Oklahoma News Report.
It's run more along the lines of classical music concerts. You're also in luck. Bartlesville is being transformed into a little Salzburg, Austria tonight with the opening of the Oklahoma Mozart International Festival. News Center 2's Heidi Browning reports.
The last-minute touches are being done for the 6th annual Mozart Festival. As the vendors prepare food for the thousands of expected visitors, the artists craft new works for shoppers to see.
It's going to be a lady's shoe, old-fashioned one like that one.
For some artists, this festival is an ideal place to show off their work. Deborah Beaver makes lace, just like they did 500 years ago.
During the time of Mozart, this is the way lace was made. And at that time, everyone wore lace. The men, the women, the children. They trimmed their houses with lace. Even their bathtubs were trimmed with lace.
And of course, there is the music. Some of the best classical musicians from around the world come for the event, including the Celesti New York Orchestra.
You know, and I'm hoping we can dispel that forever, that cliche that things of the highest cultural quality can't happen in a beautiful place like Oklahoma. I think it's just that people associate the West and the new frontier and that sort of thing with it. But we do bring the very best right to everybody's backyard.
We love it. I mean, there's nothing like it anywhere in any country that we've ever come across in terms of the community spirit, the involvement of all the people in the town.
The festival is a partnership built on an appreciation of Mozart's music. These musicians love to play it, and visitors can lose themselves in the beautiful melodies for a few days every year. Heidi Browning, News Center 2.
At the age of 8, he wrote 43 pieces of music, including 1 symphony. That amazing record continued for his 35 short years, producing 626 of the world's most beautiful works. Today, his music is still played and admired around the world. That's why the city of Bartlesville dedicates a whole festival to Amadeus Mozart. Heidi Browning reports.
So we take bar 61.
This is the Celesti New York Orchestra. They play to sold-out crowds around the globe, but this week they'll thrill Oklahoma audiences to the sounds of Mozart.
His music is incredibly joyful and exuberant, youthful. I mean, he himself died at a very young age. There's tragedy in some of his music, but so much of it is with this sort of light spirit.
This is the 6th year for the Mozart International Festival. Not everyone who comes is an expert on Mozart and his music, but they quickly learn to love it.
I think it's the childlike quality that's in Mozart's music, the innocence that's in it. By and large, his music is conflict-free. It's music that simply seems to be inevitable.
Starting this evening and going for the rest of the festival, this concert hall will be full of people who come here from around the nation and the world to hear these great musicians. And the musicians have good reason to be here, too. Edgar Meyer's been surrounded by music since he was born in Tulsa 29 years ago. The bassist and composer plays with the likes of Reba McEntire and James Taylor. Right now, he's playing a little jazz, but tonight it will be classical. It's that musical freedom that brings him here.
But if I've got an opportunity to come somewhere like this and do exactly the things that I do, and also it's a little more adventuresome programming for me to get to do, the pieces I write. And actually, it's probably pretty good because audiences tend to like them because they're kind of a fusion of different elements of the jazz and the classical.
This festival is receiving international attention. It's a celebration organizers can be proud of. And when you hear the way this music is played, you can bet Mozart would be proud of it too. Heidi Browning, News Center 2.
Bartlesville is listening to the sounds of Amadeus Mozart. Tonight, the 6th annual OK Mozart International Festival is underway, complete with orchestras, artists, and food. Today, the Solisti New York Orchestra rehearsed for their 5 performances during the festival. Vendors and artists outside also put last-minute touches on their works. Thousands of people are expected for the 9-day festival. Many musicians say the community spirit is what makes it so special.
But I don't know of any other festival that has so many people in such a small community involved. I mean, that's what's real special. Just having the theme is unique enough, but having so many people who care about it is what's really unusual.
Tonight's festival officially kicked off with an evening concert, a parade, and a laser light show.
Up in Bartlesville, the annual OK Mozart Festival is underway. Thousands of people are expected for 9 days of festivities. Randy Lewin has our preview.
The Bartlesville Mozart connection began when city leaders went searching for a suitably classy festival to hold in their classy community center. Today, the orchestra rehearsed a little Bach to go with large amounts of Mozart. As city leaders hoped, the auditorium has musicians singing its praises.
I've seen a lot of hype on the hall, and it's correct. It's a beautiful hall.
Bassist Edgar Meyer hopes some of the hype will draw a big crowd.
Like they're programming these Mozart piano concertos, and you'd have to be dead not to like them.
Not that there aren't highbrow events, like this lecture on music appreciation.
For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Mozart's music is a real reflection of the intelligence, the kind of thought, and the kind of reason that was going on at the time.
But festival organizers like to think Mozart himself would have approved of some of the crowd-pleasing events.
I think he'd be fascinated that we spell out his name and his silhouette with lasers on the roof of this building like we're going to do tonight, and that we, after beautiful music outdoors at Woolaroc, that we have marvelous fireworks.
The Woolaroc concert Wednesday costs $15. Most of the concerts cost less than that, and many events are free. Randy Lewin, Channel 6 News, Bartlesville.
A wonderful festival, and its reputation is really growing, and of course, the music of Mozart is it's incomparable in my opinion. I just love it. It was the first classical music I learned to enjoy. It's great.
Well, also, I think it's so nice that it's in such an unexpected location.
Yes.
The two is a really nice combination there.
Bartlesville certainly has reason to be proud. Time of year when many music lovers go to Bartlesville for OK Mozart. In tonight's Consumer 6 report, Julie Masco tells us the town offers music and more for a weekend getaway.
They're fine-tuning their Mozart to make this a weekend to remember. But if you plan on sharing in the musical experience, you better act fast. Many OK Mozart performances are already sold out.
You really need to get on the telephone and call if you're interested in attending to find out what is available. Of course, many things are still available during the day, so it's not too late to do quite a bit.
And while Mozart is the main attraction this weekend, there are plenty of other things to see and do in the Bartlesville area. There's the Price Tower, for example, a monolithic masterpiece by the late Frank Lloyd Wright. It draws students of architecture and sightseers alike. If Greek revival is more to your liking, there's the Frank Phillips Home, where you can tour the palatial residence built by the founder of Phillips Petroleum.
We have a wide variety of things that would be of great interest to many people. Historical museums. We have a lot of Indian culture, of course, here.
Much of that culture is on display at Woolaroc, which includes a lodge, museum, and the ever-popular petting zoo. There's also a spacious animal preserve.
There are 3,500 acres on the wildlife preserve, and there are hundreds of species of animals there. All of it just rolls into a very unique, it's in a unique setting, it's a unique, really a unique place to visit.
And just down the road, another unique animal preserve, the Prairie National Wild Horse Refuge. This 18,000-acre expanse of tall prairie grass will be home to some 2,000 wild horses. So whether it's music, history, or the wide-open plains, Bartlesville has a bit of something for everyone. Julie Matsko, Consumer 6.
OK Mozart runs through a week from tomorrow. For ticket information, call 836-8465.
And I know that's one of your favorite things that you do here in northeastern Oklahoma.
It is a wonderful festival. If you've not ever gone and you think, I don't know anything about classical music, give it a try. Everyone will love Mozart, and it's an outstanding orchestra, an outstanding event with a great reputation.
And you know, one thing I didn't know is that they play more than Mozart.
Certainly, certainly.
A little bluegrass, a little
Yes.
Bach, stuff like that.
Right.
One of Oklahoma's classiest festivals kicks off tonight, OK Mozart. 9 days of fun and music in Bartlesville. The festival actually offers all kinds of music, from bluegrass to this example of Bach. Beautiful stuff.
Bartlesville folks will be this weekend sponsoring a festival honoring Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. It's the 6th annual Mozart International Festival. It begins this evening. OETA's Karen Wicker has the story.
If you haven't acquired a taste for classical music yet, take a look at what Bartlesville has to offer. The 6th season of the OK Mozart International Festival attracts world-class musicians. But OK Mozart is more than just music. It's interesting people and places, delicious food, and eye-catching art.
Some kind of take themselves a little seriously, you know, it's heavy classical music, and what we're trying to do is make people feel that, and know that classical music is wonderful and fun, and the musicians are attractive and young, and that you can have fun doing a lot of other things at the same time.
In conjunction with the concerts, OK Mozart showcases some of Bartlesville's most unusual and fascinating sites. More than 100 events are available during non-concert hours. Home and ranch tours, lectures, and beautiful architecture.
There's a lot of other things, too, workshops, strange and wonderful things like birds, boats, and breakfast, a float trip down the Caney, bird watching. So we have put together things that are all very authentic, quite real, and of the highest quality.
Returning for his 6th season, world-renowned flautist Ransom Wilson will conduct concerts and captivate audiences. Perhaps the most popular concert is Woolaroc, performed outside, picnic style, under the shade of the Woolaroc Ranch. This week-long Austrian-style festival attracts visitors worldwide.
Even some people from East Germany coming that are fascinated that you can do Mozart and have lasers and fireworks, and just the fact that in this country we can combine lots of different elements.
OK Mozart runs through the 16th of June. Tickets for some concerts are still available by calling the OK Mozart ticket office. Most of the showcase events are free. Reporting for the Oklahoma News Report.
Once a year, Bartlesville comes alive with music from Mozart. The festival is more than a series of concerts, and News Center 2's Karen Keith is in Bartlesville this morning taking it all in. Karen, I'm jealous. What have you heard?
This is such a special treat. We're actually in the little cafe here where you can enjoy lunch and dinner
and also some fabulous music. We've been touring. We've seen all the arts and crafts, and most of them are musically oriented, so it's really fun. Of course, everything is centered around Mozart. Now, there is a special individual who's been back here 5 years in a row. This is number 6. Robin Sutherland. He's an incredible pianist. And he also, you are a folk hero around here. How do you take to that?
I should have worn my hat. I have a hat the orchestra gave me 2 seasons ago with a trucker's cap that has it on there, and I left it at home. That's too bad. I don't mind it at all.
You know, you came back here. You did something very special, you and Ransom, after the flood of '86. Tell them what you did, because the folks in Tulsa probably don't recall.
Well, we had no idea of the severity of the situation until it began running too regularly in the news, and we became concerned. Ransom phoned me from New York. I live in San Francisco. This was right around Thanksgiving, as I recall. We were both free, and we decided that we should come and try and do something for these people here in the face of that awful 500-year flood, I think they called it. So Ransom and I used to be a touring duo in the old days, and so we had repertory that it was pieced together quickly, and we came and made some money, which I believe went to the high school to replace some musical instruments damaged. We were very happy to do it.
You know, this is more than just a festival for you, or more than just coming here to play Mozart. What does it mean to you?
It means a lot of work. I wish it were a little more of a vacation, because there's so many marvelous things to do around here, and we are confined, unfortunately, to daily rehearsals, sometimes multiple rehearsals, and but it's one of the most rewarding points of my concert year, I must say.
Your favorite, a concert you want to say, people come watch this.
Well, everything is of a very, very high standard here, but I particularly am excited about the appearance of Free Flight, which is a classical pop jazz crossover group, and they are going to be here at the Community Center Thursday night, 8 o'clock. And I'm looking forward to that.
All right. Robin, would you please leave us with some wonderful Mozart, as only you can do? Thank you.
This week, it's almost like Bartlesville has moved back in time, back to the time of Mozart. And there's no way we'd want to keep Karen here with all the things going on up there. Karen, what'd you find today?
We found a multitude of events and activities surrounding the Mozart Festival, and some of them really don't have anything to do with Mozart, but they are a big part of Oklahoma. And by coming to the festival, you're included in on this. Jerry, we are in Prairie Song Indian Territory. It's just outside of Bartlesville. It is breathtaking. The view from here is wonderful. Marilyn Tate is the one responsible for putting this together.
Hello, Karen.
Oh, Marilyn, this is fabulous. When did you and your husband do this?
We started in May of '83 just to build this cabin up on the hill, and we were going to maybe come over here on Sunday afternoon. We've never spent a night here. This village sprang from this cabin. Little by little, we've added buildings. We're going to add 27 major structures, an amphitheater that'll seat probably 1,800 people. We have a steam train that carries 150 people, Karen, we don't have the track. That's the only bad thing.
So if anybody's got some loose track out there, Marilyn could use it, and they'd love to have it. There are incredible antiques in here. Where did you come up with all these?
Well, this was built in, the cabin was built at over by Branson in '81, and we bought it unfurnished, had to bring it over here and put everything back up. So we collected those since about 1984.
All right, now as we head out, we're passing something that Royal is looking forward to this morning. Marilyn said the magic words, barbecue for the crew. And it's in an old B&L, a replica of an old B&L engine, so it looks great. Let's head over here. Now here we pass, who's this?
This is Mr. DeGraffenreid, Reed, and he comes out every year. He made this steam engine.
Oh, are you having fun, sir?
Oh, you bet. A lot of fun. I'm always having fun when I'm playing with this adult toy.
This
like
adult toy is
yes,
great. Just a tiny piece of prairie song. Now, oh, look over here. The Coffeyville citizens restoring the past. You have something for us?
Well, I think Sweet Lil does.
Okay, Sweet Lil.
Sweet Lil.
Oh, we've got to come over here to Sweet Lil. Sweet Lil, what do you have for us?
Song. I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me. Funny, but when you're near me, I'm in the mood for love.
Oh, and I think Edgar would agree that was most pleasurable. Now, these Coffeyville players, you come up here to entertain?
Right. We're the Evening Star Saloon Show from Coffeyville, and we perform twice a year in Coffeyville as part of our historical group.
So as you come up here to enjoy the OK Mozart Festival, you have to make the Prairie Song a must-do on your list. It's on the schedule. When can folks come out again?
Folks can come every day. We have 2 and 3 tours a day for Mozart.
Oh, this is wonderful. Marilyn, thank you a million. Jerry, I know you're eating your heart out. Are you jealous?
Well, what I'm wondering right now is, Karen, is Sweet Lil, does she know a lot about Mozart? Is she a student of Mozart?
My guess would be probably not. But she does know about Shenandoah, and
Yes,
she knows
she
about the mood for love and all those things.
Well, she did good. And you did good. You're having...
Oh, this is just a fabulous place. I can't brag on it enough. Anybody come out here and help. Yeah, Marilyn says, Jerry, you want to take Edgar's place.
All right. I'd love to be there. We'll talk to you later.
See you later.
Bye.
OK Mozart is renowned for its beautiful music. The thousands who flock to Bartlesville are finding much more than just the music. Tonight we'll share our day at the festival with you.
You can start your day at the festival with a lecture. Today's topic, revolutionary reasons in Mozart's world.
He is a revolutionary thinker.
In keeping with the Mozart theme, you can step into the Salzburg House shop, pick up books on the master's life and festival souvenirs. Area artists are hard at work, and the children can become the canvas with a little face paint. And there's music around every corner, something for everyone. This piece is titled The Scolding Wife. By now, the morning's over, you're hungry and ready for a lunch in, of course, Cafe Mozart.
How are you all doing today?
Great, how are you?
Just fine.
While you relax, the Solisti Orchestra continues its rehearsal for the evening concert. And after a little rest, it's time for an afternoon of sightseeing. Buses will carry you to the Wild Horse Refuge.
Nevada's where they have the biggest problem, so that's where they're primarily coming out of.
Or the Sutton Avion Research Center.
Okay, this is Sequoia. He's a 2-year-old bald eagle, and when he's 4 years old, he'll get that white head and tail. Also, his beak and his eyes will turn yellow. You can see a little bit of yellow on his beak right now.
And this is only the beginning. To top the day off, you can spend the evening at Prairie Song Indian Territory just northeast of Bartlesville. The tour, an authentic replica of a turn-of-the-century village, complete with all the right antiques, a general store, post office, and a saloon.
And look what I found there. This is made by Bill Miller. I think he lives in Broken Arrow, and he brought his things up there to show. And this is, I think he's got this, these are E strings, and it's real. I mean, it could play if there was a little rosin on this thing.
Little tiny
Look
gift
how,
fiddle.
Look how little that is.
It's beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Isn't it neat?
And much has been written and said about what is the good things that are happening in Bartlesville.
Part of the Mozart Festival experience is a chance to see Bartlesville. One of the most popular attractions is the Price Tower, a great study in the architecture of Frank Lloyd Wright. The Price Tower may be the first thing you notice driving into town. Its copper color makes it stand out. Wright called the building the tree that escaped from the crowded forest. And with good reason. The original plans were drawn in 1929. The 19-story building was planned for New York City. Wright called it an experiment in horizontal living, a building where people could work in their office on one floor and live in an apartment on another floor. But his plans for the skyscraper would not become reality until 1953, when oil man H.C. Price commissioned the building. Wright was in his 80s.
There were 8 apartments covering 16 floors. Each apartment had living space on the lower floor and bedroom space up above.
The kitchen's tiny but efficient. The refrigerator is located right next to the oven. Wright loved fireplaces, and they're a part of each floor.
Frank Lloyd Wright designed the drapery fabrics. He designed the furniture, of course. There's the chair without the arms. It's the dining room chair. This is the patio furniture. Again, the copper theme and the same design that we find on the outside of the building.
Touring the building is getting a glimpse inside the master's mind for architecture and design.
The mural in this living room was designed by Wright, and the lower right-hand corner is his signature. He signed it over to his friend Hal, and the title of the mural was The Blue Moon.
And throughout the Mozart Festival, there are special tours set up if you want to take advantage of that. You can also see it at other times, but they're a little more restrictive.
I hope they have people there now, because the last time I was up there it was pretty much vacant, which is sad because it's an incredible building.
It is an incredible building, but it's mostly used for tours now.
Yeah.
The Bartlesville skyline is home to one of the most famous buildings in the world. The Price Tower is one of only 2 skyscrapers built by famed architect Frank Lloyd Wright. It was a design he created in 1929 for a company in New York City, but it would be 1953 before the project would see light. Oklahoma oil man H.C. Price hired Wright to make his dream reality in Bartlesville. The copper-dominated structure would rise up, attracting hundreds at its special opening. Today, the tower still brings crowds of architectural students and the curious studying the works of the master.
Frank Lloyd Wright wanted to bring the outside inside, and you can see what he meant by not being very far from the out of doors, wherever you are in this building.
Now, the lower floor of the Price Tower is now home to the Bartlesville Museum, and right now you can see an historical exhibit of Wright's works. And, of course, extra tours are available throughout the OK Mozart Festival.
It is an incredible building.
It is absolutely breathtaking.
And a special city, too.
It is, too.
The OK Mozart Music Festival continues in Bartlesville this week. The Solisti New York Orchestra is appearing once again as resident orchestra of OK Mozart. Musicians Victoria Eisen and Matthew Dine met and married as members of Solisti, and they've been making beautiful music together ever since.
She plays French horn, he plays oboe. And when they first heard each other play, Victoria Eisen and Matthew Dine took note. They are husband and wife and principal musicians with the Solisti New York Orchestra. It was music that first attracted them. Victoria recalls a friend inviting her to go hear Matthew play.
He sounded unbelievable, and I actually said to my friend, he sounds unbelievable and he's quite attractive. Does he have a girlfriend?
He didn't. Matthew felt much the same reaction to Victoria.
First time I heard her play was in this orchestra, sitting behind me, and I was thinking, wow, it sounds pretty great. It was some of the, I still think it's the best horn playing I've ever heard.
Matt and Victoria say music continues to bind them closer. The communication in their marriage is strengthened by their artistic communication, and vice versa.
Well, music for both of us is a very emotional thing. When you're playing, it's an outpour of emotions. So, no one knows us as well as we know each other. So, in our playing, those emotional things we really do understand about each other.
It's great to be on stage as soloists together. I mean, there's no jealousy at all. And I know that I'm proud to have Vicki up there with me. I'd much rather have her up there than anyone else.
Victoria and Matt are the parents of 3-year-old Emily and 1-year-old Nina, whom they take on tour with them whenever possible. They say one of the greatest advantages of their musical profession is that it allows their family to spend a great deal of time together. And the children are already learning to appreciate classical music.
We listen to a lot of different kinds of music, but they love Mozart and Beethoven.
Matt and Victoria say this is a wonderful time of life for them, being with their children, playing music together.
I hope for it to stay sort of how it feels right now, you know, up and positive.
I don't think anything could be better at this point.
From the music of the classics to a prairie village, the OK Mozart Festival in Bartlesville has it all.
Earlier this week, you remember we toured the Price Tower. It's a showcase of architect Frank Lloyd Wright. Well, tonight we'll take you through Shinnencon, the work of architect Bruce Goff, a student of Frank Lloyd Wright. A home that will never go out of style. That's how Bruce Goff describes Shinnencon. From the outside to the inside, triangles dominate, creating a futuristic home for the younger son of Bartlesville oil man H.C. Price.
This original part was the bachelor home. This was the bachelor home of Joe Price.
With that in mind, Goff created this living area with lush carpet that would become the furnishings. At the center of the room, a table that could be raised and lowered.
But inside this table is a refrigerated bar. If you look into the other two pyramids in the ceiling, that is not white carpeting. That actually is goose feathers that were individually hand-glued, one feather at a time, to the ceiling. And Joe shook his head and said, okay, I let you be as creative, and I think this is a little too much. And Bruce Goff said, no, their purpose is to act as a reflective surface to this major source of light in the room, and it works absolutely perfectly.
As Joe's life changed, so did the house. After Joe married a Japanese woman, Ike Sue, Goff would add on to his masterpiece, building this room to house fragile Japanese art. At the center, a pool for the goldfish, overlooking the Japanese-like bathhouse.
This is a space that Bruce Goff had created that you could come and relax and meditate, look up through this pool of water and see the goldfish swimming around. You can also see the Japanese art through here, as well as look up through the ceiling of the museum room, and you could see the clouds and the sky and the sun, or at night you could see the stars and possibly the moon.
Goff also created this private getaway for Joe, a loft atop a spiral staircase. It is here that Goff left perhaps his strongest signature, with dime store beads and sequins.
He would sit down with a bottle of glue, a sheet of glass, and his dime store Woolworth trinkets, and really create masterpieces of beauty.
And Goff died in 1982. 5 years ago, Joe Price donated the house to the University of Oklahoma in honor of Bruce Goff. And it's now used as a conference center for the university and is a frequent stopover for students of architecture.
Mozart means music, and that's exactly what hundreds of folks in Bartlesville are listening to. It's the 6th annual OK Mozart Festival. The get-together honors the great Austrian composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Folks from 40 states are on hand for music, sightseeing, and the arts and crafts.
I think there's always something new. This year we started our festival lecture series, and Dr. Angermüller from Salzburg was here doing lectures on Mozart and money. Poor Wolfie had a little trouble with money. And then on the opera Così fan tutte, and this is the 200th anniversary of that opera. So it was a really wonderful thing for us to get to have him on this special year.
Wolfie's music and all the fun come to an end on Monday.